But yeah, here,
Top
let's
of the
start
hour,
off with the Kamala Harris pick. Let's get to a little bit on the background, and then we'll continue. We'll talk about like what the Republicans are doing
And
right
the breaking news is big in this unprecedented campaign, this season the likes of which we have never seen before. We have one more major development. Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee now for President of the United States, has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate. Week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe seen as a dark horse. Now he has emerged as the choice. Our MJ Lee, Jeff Zeleny, John King, Jamie Gangel, all reporting on this. MJ just saying maybe Walz, a vibes pick, seen as a Midwestern happy warrior. John King is here with us in New York, watching this unfold before our eyes. Let's just start, reset at the top of the hour, what Tim Walz means for this ticket now.
It means, number one, the Democrats have their ticket. They're about to go into their convention, and after Kamala Harris clinched the nomination with the most unorthodox nominating process of our lifetime, the President of the United States steps aside after winning the primaries. She wins a virtual voting among the delegates, and then she wants to make this decision. She wants all this cleaned up before they get to Chicago for the convention, so that can all be about prosecuting the case against Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and against the Republicans. So a very truncated process, a lot of pressure on the vice president. So if the voters out there get to judge, how she's handling this first big executive decision. So why Tim Walz? We're showing pictures of him right there in a jacket and a shirt with no tie on. Earlier we had pictures of him in a T-shirt. I do think the contrast here is going to be striking. This is a small town Midwesterner. This is a man who won a Republican House seat and held it in very difficult years for Democrats.
I asked this question to Sam Cedars and got jumped on. My question is, what has changed? Why is everyone so hyped about Walz? How would this address our foreign policy concerns? You will get jumped on because this is a moment where like people are finally tuning back into politics, and a lot of people are just straight ticket liberals in general, and they don't personally give a single fuck about American foreign policy. That is by design, mind you. The American foreign policy is brutal, it's ruthless, it's bloodthirsty, it's maniacal, and that is precisely the reason why it is not in the forefront of American minds ever. Foreign policy has the capacity to make or break elections only when it reaches a certain boiling point. We could technically still reach that boiling point, by the way. When people talk about like nothing ever happens, they mean like nothing ever happens to America, right? They don't mean like nothing ever happens, because things are happening all the time. A genocide is happening, for example. But that's the reason why people will yell at you and say that you're like spoiling the fun that they're having right now. Ultimately, I always manage my expectations. I grade on a curve when it comes to American politics. When I'm doing like election analysis, I'm not doing election analysis from simply my moral perspective, even though I'm very honest about my own personal motivations and my own personal, moral opinions, my own morality. I almost always try to associate it with like electability so that the broader American base of support develop a better understanding. But in terms of this changing the outcome of American foreign policy, I don't think there is any sort of, so you're just sheepdogging for clout? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. And not because I also personally think that like marginal improvements in the right direction make ease of access for labor union participation and organizing ahead of time in a country where there is no organizing, in a country where if you say I want paid family leave, they call you a fucking socialist and say that you've killed 100 guerrillian people. Considering that I've been doing this for the past 10 years, I think I know what the fuck I'm doing. Maybe I keep doing what I'm doing, but I wish you well in your in the way that you're doing it. Yeah, the big time clout that I get. So big time clout that I get from being a leftist. Anyway, so this is obviously significantly better than the former option that we were locked in with. Another leftist streamer made the argument that Walz would be a bad pick based on the good policies he's done, which is why it had to be Bashar because he's a bland candidate that Republicans would attack him on. What? No. So Fuck, where was I? But yeah, ultimately most Americans do not care about foreign policy. And if you bring it up, they're like, oh, fuck you, you're a radical, you're a piece of shit, even though you're right, you're not wrong, right? But as far as foreign policy goes, do I think Walz is going to be like all that different from the average Democrat? Probably not. Okay. But as it stands, I was a big time Bernie advocate, as you guys know. And I literally also said the same shit about fucking Bernie in terms of foreign policy. And I said this time and time again, Bernie Sanders had like a bunch of differences, a bunch of moments where he differentiated from the average Democrat, especially on Israel. But like ultimately, it's not like he's going to be he was ever going to be like the true anti-war vanguardist leader that you think he was going to be. He was not. So you have to grade on a curve. You have to manage your expectations. You don't have to care about American elections, but if you do care about American elections, you have to understand that, you know, there's obviously like American elections are going to be spoken about within the confines of America. And Americans are very selfish. They don't really give a shit about our foreign policy. And it is not something that moves the needle. Having said that, in terms of Israel, okay, in terms of Israel, it does move the needle a little bit in key districts, in key states like Michigan, for example. Okay. But yeah, Walz has a really interesting background on foreign policy from his time living in China, where he was a teacher in China, and also has talked about not having an adversarial relationship with China, which is like genuinely weird to hear from a fucking Democrat. So, you know, there is definitely some good there. Okay. He speaks a little bit of Mandarin. He was anti-intervention in Syria. He has been at times anti-interventionist. He's been at times a party loyalist that voted along the party lines. So that is important to understand, though. That is important to put within the context of like the rest of the Democratic Party. In terms of his stuff with respect to Muslim populations, he has a big Somali constituency in his state. He has actively defended them on the record time and time again. That's why they're attacking him and saying he's like beholden to care. Okay. He is not going to be aggressive in being like anti-Israel or anything like that. Make no mistake. But having said that, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. I am not going to make any predictions on that front. I suspect him of being like super. Do I suspect him of being like above and beyond on the issue of Israel? Who knows? Probably not. He is just like every other fucking Democrat. He's just like every other Democrat and on that issue.
He held on to it. So he has that small town rural appeal, which is why did Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Sort of the same idea. Can you go into small communities and make the case? He's the chairman of the Democratic Governors Association. I can tell you his fellow Democratic governors love him. Love him. They think he's smart. They think he builds consensus. They think he's really funny. And so they like being in his company. And that matters in a campaign. In terms of Harris being out, are you confident that do you have the loyalty and do you trust your partner out there on the campaign trail? Does that person at tense moments, and there will be a lot of tense moments in the next 90 days of this campaign, make you laugh and make you smile and maybe take some of the pressure off you? Can you do the small market television? Walz fits that bill. Now,
yes, Walz can do retail much better than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris still has that like elitist California stink on her a little bit when she's running around. She plays well. She plays well to younger voters for sure. But like ultimately, you put this man in the fucking Rust Belt, he's going to thrive. That's where he's from. You know, that's what he does. That's his shit. He's a goddamn teacher from fucking Minnesota. All right. So that he's got like a lovable older coach energy because that is what he is. He's got a decent amount of time in the legislative body. He has performed and outperformed the Democratic Party routinely as the governor. He's a popular governor. He's done a lot. His legislative accomplishments in 2023 onward is pretty solid as well. Like, he is 100p a phenomenal pick. A great pick, okay? Top of the leaderboard pick. Absolutely stoked for this. Absolutely stoked for this. He also has a DUI on his record. That, yeah, say no more. That makes it even better. So, the Democrats have obviously set us up for low expectations time and time again. Up until the last moment, I straight up thought that they would still go with Shapiro, because Shapiro was the scared pick. Okay? Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, was the scared pick. Okay? That was the pick you do when you're not confident in your abilities of running and winning PA on your own. Okay? And honestly, I genuinely thought, like, it's still gonna be a bad pick. It's still gonna be a bad pick. It's not gonna be a good pick. And ultimately, they went with the good pick. I do think that they are responding positively to what they are hearing and what they are seeing from the progressive wing of the base of support in the Democratic Party. I do think that. Now, obviously, this presents an opportunity. Keep pushing on this front, specifically on Israel, okay? Every unlikable leftist I've ever seen is really out here like he's not leftist Jesus, therefore I will be not voting. Yeah. Don't listen to these people, okay? Don't. It's fine. Those people probably do a phenomenal amount of activism. They're at the forefront of all these movements and stuff like that. It's great. Those people are your allies. Those people are necessary. But this is elections. This is electoral politics. They don't fucking vote anyway. Who gives a shit? You're like, yeah, that's fine. Who cares? Like, I was duking it out with some people in my own Hoscord. There was a Nigerian Hoscorder who was like yelling about the VP pick not being like a revolutionary pick. And I was like, listen, brother, I love you, but like, it's like saying the global South is upset about, the fucking Minnesota State comptroller. Like, yeah, of course, this does not, this is not like a global South pick. There is no global South pick. We're talking about American empire, right? The most that America could do is step aside and allow the revolutionary potential of the third world to continue. Okay? That's the most you can expect from the imperial core, which is not going to happen anyway. I'm over here looking at a hemorrhaging country, a country that's bleeding, and a country that is on its last leg, basically fucking being actively more violent year over year, and trying to create a system, or at least like envisioning a system where it's like at least a little bit better in terms of organizing, so that there can be actual progressive momentum in this country, labor momentum in this country. That's it. That's what I care about. I thought crime was down. What? Crime is down. The fuck are you talking about? When I say hemorrhaging, I'm talking about, when I talk about America dying, I'm talking about like American empire. I'm talking about income inequality. I'm talking about the very obvious instability that we are staring down currently. Anyway. How is a guy that created free breakfast and lunch not a radical pig in a good way? It's insane to me. What do they expect? America's getting more violent every year. Yes, I meant on its foreign policy. I don't mean that like America internally is getting more violent. America's always been pretty fucking violent in general. Crime is down, but that's besides the point. I'm talking specifically about America's active participation in global violence. Okay? Anyway, let's continue.
Now, we're going to see how he plays out. And again, I'll be a broken record on this. There is no data in the 37 years I've been doing this that says your vice presidential pick makes the difference in the end. However, it can hurt you. We could have a conversation about has Vance hurt Trump, or at least stalled Trump's momentum a little.
Walz is the one that sent the National Guard in during the George Floyd protest and has been making it harder to persecute cops and implements reforms in Minneapolis. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting take because it's a big column A, column B on that front as well, because he does have some weaknesses. You just mentioned 2 solid ones, but he's also the same guy that, if I'm not mistaken, allowed the Keith Harrison prosecution to occur, right? Or hold on, no, not Keith Harrison. What's fucking Keith Ellison, not Harrison. Sorry. He's the one. Wait, hold on. He's the one who pushed, like he's the one who at least didn't get in the way of Keith Ellison, not Harrison. I apologize. And I think that that in and of itself is like pretty solid. Yeah, he also lamented on his abject failure of riot response. Summer, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz confronted criticism after a third night of destructive protests in response to George Floyd's death in police custody. National Guard officers said the mission lacked clarity. So he is, like I said, he's an interesting guy even on this front as well. But of course, no politician is perfect, and Walz is not perfect either. No leftist who votes thinks that we're going to vote ourselves into a socialist utopia with one election. Ultimately, meaningful change will come from some amount of violence here at home, and news like Walz being picked for VP speaks to a future where that great change comes with potentially less violence here at home. But maybe I'm speaking out of my ass. I think it's a good idea. This is a good thing for normal leftists who vote. Yeah. I think ultimately, look, man, ultimately, I want nice things. Okay. I just want what? Oh no. TikTok and Instagram, Hasan D. Pike. They got my username wrong. Twitter leftists are gonna hate on any option unless it's a Che reincarnate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as Twitter leftists. Okay. We're having a conversation about electoral politics. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. Twitter leftists are completely meaningless in this conversation. Okay. You want to know who actually played a big role here? Motherfucking Nancy Pelosi. That's who played a big role here. Okay. She played a much larger role than like any number of hammer and sickle accounts. So it's fine. Power doesn't come from above, it comes from below. Walz and Harris will be easier to organize under than Trump, but of course they're still going to send in cops to beat the shit out of us anyway. Yes, exactly. Fun fact, Tim Walz is the only person on either ticket that doesn't wear makeup. He's also the only person, aside from Donald Trump, since the Carter administration that doesn't have a law degree, I'm pretty sure, of some sort. Right? Like, or is it like a VP that hasn't had that? Which is pretty wild. I mean, the motherfucker's a teacher, bro. He's a teacher. What are we talking about? That's it. He's a teacher. He's a football coach. He was in the army. Like, he's pretty fucking solid. I don't really give a shit about like him being a veteran. I do care a lot more about him being a teacher. Just like with Ketanji Brown Jackson, I cared that she was a public defender. Okay? Like, these are very important things. This is life experience, especially in more formative years, that truly changes the way you view the world. Okay? If you're not a fucking like out of touch rich weirdo like half of the fucking Republican Party, for example, like, that's cool. That's a good thing. That means that you are going to be the kind of guy that legitimately would advocate for certain positions because you have lived experience on those positions. Okay?
Sometimes life is as much about the lessons you learn as the lessons you teach. When I grew up, community was a way of life. My high school class was 24 people. I was related to half of them. I learned to be generous towards my neighbors, compromise without compromising my values, and work for the common good. My dad was in the Army, and with his encouragement, I joined the Army National Guard when I was 17. I served for 24 years. I used my GI benefits to go to college and become a public school teacher. I coached football and taught social studies for 20 years. And I tried to teach my students what small-town Nebraska taught me: respect, compromise, service to country. And so when I went into government, that's what I carried with me. I worked with Republicans to...
That's the thing. Like, he also is like pretty popular in Congress too. Like, people love him. Like, amongst, like, listen, the VP can play a big role in obviously, you know, dominating Congress. I hate you leftists so much. Brother, you can hate me all day, every day. I still want you to get fucking, I still want an easier future for your children. I still want you to be able to get fucking healthcare. I still want you to be able to get educated for free. You know, I still want all the government handouts that are given to fucking massive multinational corporations that rake in billions of dollars of profit by abusing people like yourself to actually not get those handouts and for you to get those handouts instead. Okay. It doesn't matter. You can hate me all day, every day. Okay. I still want that for you because I know that when you get those things, you will be less angry because the hatred that you have is simply the anger that you have for the anger that you have festered, that you have manifested in your body due to all the fucking underlying material circumstances that you're subjected to. Okay. Your life sucks. You get mad. And then people tell you, you should get mad at this fucking guy. Okay. Rich people turn around and tell you, you should get mad at this other person. Okay. This other person who says you do deserve nice things, as a matter of fact. That's how it works. I hope that regardless of how you feel about me, I hope that, you know, you still have a happy future. All right.
Pass an infrastructure bill, cut taxes for working families, signed paid leave into law. I codified abortion rights after Roe got overturned because I go to work for the common good. But enough about me. Let's talk about you, because that's what this election is about. It's about your future. It's about your family. And Vice President Harris knows that. She too grew up in a middle-class family. She too goes to work every day, making sure families can not just get by, but get ahead. We believe in the promise of America, in those values I learned in Nebraska, and we're ready to fight for them. Because as Kamala Harris says, when we fight, we win.
Who the fuck are you and what did you do with Hasan? Wait, what? I've never fucking strayed away from my advocacy. One of the things that I routinely mention is Medicare for all means for all, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your political background or your ideology is. Even Nazis get healthcare. Like, that's how it works. This is something that I've always advocated for and will continue to advocate for, regardless of what fucking people think about me. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, there are heated moments where I fucking yell at people when they come in and they like immediately attack like random marginalized groups or whatever, and they piss me off. But ultimately, it doesn't change my mentality on whether they deserve. It doesn't change my calculation on whether they deserve nice things or not, you know? That's how it works. All right. Also, I'm in a really good mood. People who only watch clips of you saying you've changed, lol. Yeah, I know. People who only watch clips of me are the same people that like will watch one clip of me where I, you know, describe a position that I've maintained for like 10 fucking years, right? And then they'll go, wow, incredibly rare HasanAbi W. And it's like, bro, it's just me being pro-trans. You know what I mean? Like, you think that's a rare take, brother? That's like the reason why you've seen all the negative fucking takes about me in general. Anyway. So, yeah, people would be like, wow, Hasan said he wants everyone to have health care. Rare HasanAbi W.
We are getting you on here before you are starting your workday, so I don't know if anyone's heard what your thoughts are on Kamala Harris naming Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her VP candidate. What are your thoughts there?
Oh, I love it. I'm very excited about Walz. Walz he's a fighter. He's done a lot with a very slim majority in the state legislature in Minnesota. And I've been writing for the Democratic Party of Minnesota for quite some time. So I'm actually very excited about Walz. I definitely think he was a better choice than Shapiro. A lot of people immediately think, oh, is it because of Israel or whatever? No, like Walz is also, going to be pro-Israel. Most Democrats are. In general, that's American foreign policy. My frustration with Josh Shapiro was actually because he was pro-school vouchers. Like he worked with the Republicans in the state when he became the governor to push for a school voucher program, and I think that's very right-wing for me. I don't really like that. I think that's immediately it spells that you're anti-teachers union, and that's a pretty solid, pretty important constituency for the Democratic Party. Tim Walz, on the other hand, is a teacher. So I'm very excited to hear how he will communicate a more progressive agenda for the Democratic Party. I think they actually have listened to the voters. They've been doing a lot of good things this past month, especially. They've almost become this competent party that I never really experienced. I never really thought they could be.
Did you bring a tripod to the court? Yeah, I always bring a tripod to the court to film myself playing basketball and stuff. But like this time, it actually worked. So that I could whip this up because I forgot about this. Outside of playground lol. Yeah, I'm flexing to all the right wingers that as someone who is a staunch anti-pedophile, I am allowed near playgrounds as they are not.
Getting you on here.
It's like this is something that you are not legally allowed to do. Half of the Republican Party's base of support. Anyway, my fiance says you have big pick me energy, bro. You appeared in her dreams too, bro. Yeah. Have you talked to Dan before? No, I have not. This was Matt Dakar. Thank you for the 50 community gifted subs. What a crossover. What a crossover. People are saying, who the fuck is this sweaty dude? Yeah. All of my like sports broadcaster friends that I've worked with over the years are going to be so shocked that I appeared on a fucking sports show. Anyway. First time I hear you thanking someone for gifted subs. I always thank gifted subs. PFD's gonna lose his mind at this. Yo, isn't he in LA right now? I'm gonna see if I can get him on the broadcast. I'm gonna send him a real quick text here, okay? See if he's around. This is becoming a sports broadcast at this point. We are a pro sports. Please don't take more days off this election cycle and only get so insane. Did you glaze LeBron on the show? I did. I talked about like Democrats on immigration are like LeBron James actively choosing to play chess against a grandmaster like Magnus Carlsen instead of playing a dunk competition where he would clear it. I did that analogy. I was like, don't talk about immigration. The least you could do is like, If you're going to talk about immigration, just like talk about how bad the Republican Party's immigration policies are. Another reason why Tim Walz appeals so well to rural areas in the Rust Belt. Yeah. The video's out, by the way. Are you pro sports? I am. How about Anthony Edwards? I love Anthony Edwards. Okay. Let's continue. Have you covered the racist riots in the UK? Yes, I have. I did extensively yesterday. Dude, this has been awesome. This has been so awesome. I'm telling you right now, I'm all over the place right now. I haven't been able to like give you guys the fucking good stuff because a lot happened in such a short period of time. But honestly, fuck. Let's just continue. I'm going to lock in.
And it can help you in the idea that, again, popular with governors, that helps you raise money. Popular with governors, that helps get more people on the team. Popular in small town America, create a little buzz for Democrats in places maybe where they're not always seen. And that is one of the Democratic Party's problems. In the years I've been doing this, Michael Dukakis was my first.
What? Bad take? You're basically saying the Republicans are right about immigration and we can't beat them? Saying immigration is good is actually better than avoiding the issue? No. My thing is, either set up a counter narrative that is objectively based and rooted within reality, okay? Or if you're going to talk about it, if you're going to talk about the issue of immigration, don't fucking literally play into their narrative. You're wrong. You don't understand the point I'm making. I'm making the opposite point.
First campaign, 1988. He won 10 states.
Massachusetts miracle.
Yeah, Iowa and West Virginia were states won by Michael Dukakis in 1988. Those who are blue-collar Democrats who worked with their hands on farms or in coal mines or in factories. The Democrats have lost those votes. Tim Walz knows how to win those votes. Again, the presidential candidate decides who wins the election. But a vice presidential candidate can help a little bit, and she's made a governing choice here too. A progressive governor who was in the military, in the House, then elected statewide and re-elected statewide. So you have governing experience here, again, in a different mix, a Midwestern mix. She's a West Coast politician. So it's an interesting combination. Politics, I always call it a casserole, right? You're bringing all these ingredients together and trying to make them work. The last thing I'll say is, in my travels over the last year, one of the issues is people are so disillusioned with politics. That's why you have so-called double haters, people who don't like Trump and don't like Biden. Well, now President Biden's out of the race. So that gives the Democrats an opportunity. They have this opportunity to shake up the race, to get people to look again. So somebody who's a little different, a little unorthodox. Kamala Harris is different. She's a woman of color, right? So she's different in her own right. Now to bring somebody else different into the mix when you're trying to get another look, it's an interesting pick. And
you mentioned him being a happy warrior. That's not something that you always hear in politics. There's been a lot of people who have been really, really annoyed, pissed off is probably the best word you could use.
I'm going to stop being annoying and shut up after this, but have you seen this Squid Tips video about V and motorcycles? It's really good, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. What? I have no idea what any of those words you just said are. I'm sorry.
At the candidates recently using very dark language, et cetera, et cetera. He's not that guy.
No, he makes the case against Trump and Trumpism with a smile. And he says he urges people to make it with a smile. And he urges people to say, don't demonize the voters. Don't demonize the people with whom you disagree. Try to have a conversation with them. Try to win them over with your own arguments and with your own details, not by saying you're a moron or you're an idiot or go away, I don't want to listen to you. Try to find out how they got there.
What is
the source of their disillusionment and their disaffection? Not just push them away because they disagree with you.
Yeah. Let's go to Jeff Zeleny now. Jeff, there is this question about what the relationship was before all this. How much did Kamala Harris know Tim Walz or have ever sort of talked to and had conversations with Tim Walz before the dark horse became the pick?
HasanAbi likes Anthony Edwards, a known homophobe. I'm sorry, bro. It's not the homophobia. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but like That has no basis in my analysis. Okay. Have you seen the way he balls? Okay. It's like Kyrie. Listen, I got a lot of love for Kyrie. Okay. And it has nothing to do with his takes. Don't come in here and pull some shit like that. Okay. Anthony Edwards also, yep, you're right. Pro-abortion. This is true. Ne haber anne? Gördüm anne, konuşamam şu anda. I said, let me see.
Sir, I'm told not much. They did not have much of a relationship. But another source just a moment ago pointed me back to a visit that Vice President Harris took to the Twin Cities in Minnesota in March. And she visited a Planned Parenthood clinic. Of course, she has been the leading champion on the, at the time, Biden-Harris campaign for abortion rights. And that has been one of the really anthems of her candidacy. And Governor Walz was at this Planned Parenthood clinic. It's the first time a sitting vice president has visited such a clinic. And I'm told that she walked away impressed by his demeanor, how he carried himself, and she liked him, but did not know much about him. And of course, at the time, this would have been unthinkable. Just 16 days ago, she was the running mate. She was not looking for her own running mate. So that is what is remarkable about this. But really, in the last 2 weeks, Governor Walz went from a third-tier contender in the views of someone who's close to him to one of the top three. And they believe that was largely because of what he was doing sort of very publicly. He was doing every interview he could do, trying to make the case to some Democrats and make the case why he is the type and flavor of Democrat that could help win voters back. If you think back to it,
Mehdi with another 50 gifted. God damn, I didn't even see that shit, dude. That's crazy.
If you think back to sort of the Democratic Party, how it was not that long ago when Barack Obama won in 2008 and 2012, they won a lot of areas that are now red. John was just talking about many of those areas. Governor Walz is someone they believe who can help sort of win back these areas. There, of course, are limitations to this. Vice President Harris is at the top of the ticket. She is the standard bearer. So we will see in the coming days how much he can sort of give some calm and relief to some voters who are unsure about this. But the contrast is something I'm told the Harris campaign very much liked, and the chemistry is something that she also liked in the final days of this search. Guys.
Not a lawyer. Tim Walz also not a lawyer, which is unusual, right? I guess Al Gore wasn't a lawyer. I mean, it's not often. Social studies here. You don't often see, politicians at this point who haven't had experience in the law, especially on the Democratic side. Let's go to MJ Lee for more reports.
Tim Walz literally met with Netanyahu. Oh my God. What's next? Are you going to tell me that he delivered a speech at AIPAC where he talked about how he's committed to the security of Israel? Wow. Look at how shocked I am. This is my shocked face. Oh my God. I can't believe it. That's so strange. That's such a strange thing that you're telling me about any American politician. I love people that literally will openly recognize that, like, AIPAC dominates Congress, okay? Dominates Congress. Like, you regularly talk about this. And then you turn around and you're like, look, another Democrat went to AIPAC and another Democrat met with Benjamin Netanyahu. It's like, yeah, no shit, dog. How is this shocking to you? How is this shocking to you? You're bringing up shit we know already. I know this already. I know. This is not like even remotely surprising to me. I don't know why it's surprising to you. What the fuck? Like, you should know this. If you are someone who is already, like, very invested in Palestinian emancipation, you should be aware of this already. What the fuck?
Reporting on how we got to this point. MJ, what are you hearing now?
Yeah, John, I do think
So why the fuck are you supporting him? Brother, there is virtually no other fucking candidate. Like, there's like 3 that haven't touched AIPAC. Okay? What are you on right now? I'm saying that is the bipartisan position. Okay? What do you mean? You have to personally look at the rest of Congress. This is why I have also, time and time again, defended AOC on the issue of Israel too. People will be like, AOC is a fucking controlled opposition, blah, 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 blah. It's like, bro, you guys are so nutty because you have no understanding of how American Congress fucking works in terms of like being pro-Israel. It's a non-starter, okay? Like, it is a fucking non-starter. What are we talking about?
We should just take an extra beat to take stock.
It's always the same. Every election season is the same. I know. I love it because it's always like younger people that are just like first invested in politics. And you can tell like there's two different types of like young voters who are just getting into politics. Like one, the disillusioned voter that like is completely outside of the electoral politics scheme in general, recognizes a bourgeois democracy. It's fucking bullshit. It's a bullshit duopoly, but still chirps that there isn't like a Maoist candidate out there. Okay. And then the other type of voter who's like is like diehard invested in the Democratic Party and still thinks that the Democratic Party has their best interest in mind. Now, obviously, this is a unique moment in American politics. It's very different than the way I talk about how the Democratic Party operates in general. If you've been watching me for a long enough time, you probably know what I'm going to say for the most part on the Democratic Party's future prospects and how they operate normally. This is unique. This is a unique instance. But even before this instance, even before the last month of the Democratic Party demonstrating that they can be competent, there was still hella fucking chatters in here being like, oh, but like you got to still vote, right? Like you got to do lesser evil voting, blah, 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 blah. Like all this shit. And that is because they're not disillusioned and haven't been fucked over time and time again after going out and door knocking, after going out and like being invested in a candidate or whatever. So it's like their maybe second election. So they don't know yet. They don't know how bad it is. They don't know how bad it gets. You're already being called a liberal. This is just an impossible conversation to have with anyone who's remotely online. I don't care. I am. Yeah, sure. Whatever. This is no different than when people go, oh, dude, you're a capitalist. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I love capitalism. I love the Democratic Party. I'm a liberal. I'm a reactionary conservative. I'm everything at all times, okay? And yet, for some weird reason, my position has not changed for the past 10 fucking years. And every single thing that I've said should happen is literally happening. So who gives a fuck? Stop trying to fucking fit me into the to like this neat little confine that you've created, neat little box that you've created in your mind. Just listen to what the fuck I'm saying, okay? I don't give a shit. I don't care. Yeah, okay. Label me whatever the fuck you want. Oh yeah, I'm 100% disillusioned because I actually have door knocked thousands of doors, but I understand that it's just me. To be fair, I don't think you're doing liberalism. I think the actual liberals in chat might be mishearing your take though. Anyway, let's continue.
Of really the really remarkable and extraordinary series of events that led us to this moment. It was 16 days ago that President Joe Biden dropped out of the 2024 race. And as you've been talking about, Vice President Harris was able to lock up this nomination so quickly, but so much so that there was not even at any point even a blip of a real conversation within the Democratic Party about whether they should consider anybody else other than Kamala Harris. And now we have not only Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket, but within a matter of days, she has deliberated on and chosen the running mate of her choice. And it is now going to be the Harris-Walz ticket running against the Trump-Vance ticket. So we have seen such a remarkable and unprecedented transformation of the Democratic ticket in just, again, a matter of days. And I do think we should note that this moment really marks, in some ways, Kamala Harris defying President Biden. As we have talked about so much for years and years, President Biden and the advisors that are closest to him have made the argument repeatedly that the person at the top of the ticket had to be Joe Biden, that only he was capable of defeating Donald Trump, that with anybody else, the country really risked a second-term Trump presidency. And in that, they were at least implicitly suggesting that the Democratic bench of talent was inadequate. But now here we have Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket, now Tim Walz right there below her, and the two of them certainly do now represent sort of the future of the Democratic Party in a way that we would not have seen had Joe Biden remained at the top of the ticket. Now, one thing I will say, as we are now talking about this ticket facing up against President Trump and J.D. Vance on the other side of the aisle, I do think there's something to be said for the way that Walz has conducted himself.
How much of this was Kamala making the decision? How much was the DNC? I think Nancy Pelosi actively was petitioning for Walz, so I will give her the credit for that as well. I'll give Nancy the credit for replacing Biden. And I give Nancy the credit for fucking pushing for Walz. That's my GOAT, okay? I despise her worldview, but that's my GOAT when it comes to fucking making picks, making stock picks, and that's my goddamn GOAT when it comes to changing the history and the trajectory of the Democratic Party in such a dramatic fashion that this race went from a Donald Trump lock, okay, to what you are seeing unfold in front of your eyes. What? POV, you begged like a dog and didn't get it? They're calling you out? Wait, what? Dude, there is no point in this process where I said I don't want Walz. I said I like Walz a lot. I have glazed Walz for at least a year plus at this point. Anyway, let's continue.
In the last several weeks or so, as he has made the case effectively, a lot of Democrats would say, against Trump and Vance. You know, he is the guy that made the weird messaging really take hold as he described the Republicans on the other side of the aisle as those weird guys. That has been a really politically effective messaging, and he has clearly shown, whether he was intentionally auditioning for this job or not, that he can be that effective messenger for Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. So all of these things would have gone into that decision-making process. I know that we were talking about this a little bit in the last hour, but I do think sort of that vibes decision, how much that factored into things, just the idea that this is somebody that she would have had good personal chemistry with, that he is widely described as somebody that people just enjoy spending time with.
Let's go to senior White House correspondent James.
We're gonna get to like the way that the weirdo Republicans are reacting to this. I mean, here, John Podhoretz treats boy himself. Appointing Tim Walz, who praised Ilhan Omar, is like appointing the head of Sister Soldier's record label to run the Federal Communications Commission. And that's not like a random guy who's extremely online. That is the editor of Commentary Magazine, okay? This guy is supposed to be like a representative of the normal Republican side. They are actively bludgeoning themselves in the fucking head. Okay, timely reference, brother. Oh, no. I mean, he's always been a fucking gross weirdo. Okay? But it's great. Great messaging, man. Thank you, John Podhoretz. Thank you. Doing great. Doing great. Chaya Raichik running with the Libs of TikTok account owner, Chaya Raichik, running with hashtag Tampon Tim. You might be wondering why Hashtag tampon Tim? Because they made a push at Capitol to fund menstrual products for students in Minnesota public schools, saying that it is pads and tampons are as essential as toilet paper and soap in school bathrooms. That's why they're calling him tampon Tim. Bro, you're so fucking stupid. You are such a dumbass. Like, what are you saying? What the fuck? Like, what's wrong with you? How could this be seen as a bad thing? What's next, dude? Are you gonna fucking yell at him for feeding children? Is that what we're doing? Yeah. Oh, man. Stupid ass Tim Walz. He wants to feed our children with free breakfast and lunch, dude. What a fucking animal. What a bad guy he is. Team Trump is already out with a brutal ad against Kamala Harris's VP Tim Walz. They're really good at this.
Signing a bill into law that requires schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms. Or weirder than signing legislation allowing...
Yeah, this is not gonna work, man. It's not working. You're fucking a gross loser, okay? You are a gross loser. It's gross. This shit's not gonna work. It's not gonna fucking work at all, man. It's not gonna work.
Minors to receive sex change operations. Try electing the man who signed those bills, Vice President of the United States. Enter Chief.
Conservative attacks get too overeager and try to cram so much rage bait in to the point that you don't even understand what they're talking about anymore. It just comes off as conservative drivel, which I guess works well if you're already a GOP voter, but not much else. Exactly. It's like literally fucking what Jesse Waters did the other day. Remember when he was like, oh, the Democratic Party has actively become the party of Dylan. We understand what he's saying because we're fucking brain broken. He's talking about Dylan Mulvaney, a trans TikToker who was on one fucking Bud Light can. You are signaling to the most insane people in your base when you talk like that. But ain't nobody else cares about that shit. You're delusional. It's like, it's literally like fucking, imagine a thing that is like obviously very top of mind in this stream. When I say top of the, everybody goes, oh, top of the hour ad break, right? But no one outside of this fucking community perks up when they hear top of the, like the way you do, okay? Because you've been adjusted to have this Pavlovian reaction. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, okay? But you cannot run a fucking national narrative like that. Because most people won't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay? But at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. It's like trying to run the Democratic Party with Mao references. Yes. It's ironically what like a lot of leftists that are, diehard leftists who are, activists for sure, who are always on the ground at the forefront of like community movements, right? Getting mad that like Tim Walz, the governor of fucking Minnesota, is not like saying we should nuke Israel or something. Okay. Like that's not like, what are we talking about? That's not going to happen. Like he's not going to fucking, ain't nobody that is coming near a crumb of power is running like that. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, let's continue.
Weirdo Tim Walz. As governor of Minnesota, Walz supported legislation that endangers minors, hurts women, and puts radical ideology ahead of common sense.
Yeah, Tim Walz hates minors. That's why he wanted to feed them with food. And everybody knows what a good governor, like the governor of Arkansas, is supposed to do is teach minors a lesson about the value of $1 and what it takes to earn $1. That's why Sarah Huckabee Sanders deregulated child labor laws deregulated child labor laws, you know? He wants to hurt women by allowing them to get medical procedures and defending them getting medical procedures such as abortions.
Now Kamala wants Walz to enforce those laws on a national scale. Tim Walz, too weird, too radical.
Too weird, too radical. Yeah, he's so weird, dog. Definitely. I really do hope, I really, really, really do hope that the Dems don't get scared by this and just lean into it. And they're like, these guys are fucking weird. They think feeding children is a radical proposition. You're gross. They want to constantly talk about trans people. That's like 10,000 total people across like 8 states. And they're always trying to dunk on them. They're weird and they're bullies and they're scared. They're powerless and they're fucking scared. And they constantly want to get you to be invested in this narrative because they don't want to feed children. We are the party of feeding children. Say that. Run that every day. Walz has done a phenomenal job running that narrative over and over again. Okay? I'm pretty sure Ben cut a video praising Sarah Huckabee and Walz feeding kids ruins their work ethic. Yeah.
I'm not going to get involved in making a choice. What I will say, though, is I've been impressed by Tim Walz's ability not only to communicate to the working people of Minnesota, but to also be an advocate for them. So I like Tim very much, and I wish him the best.
Wow, I can't believe how far left is Kamala's VP Tim Walz. Last week, Bernie Sanders specifically named him as his dream choice. I can't believe one of the most consistently popular congresspersons in the United States likes Kamala's VP pick. Surely this is a good angle of attack. It's like, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. They are so online, dude. He's a senator, congressperson. What do you mean? What do you think Senate is a part of? Do you think Congress is just the House of Representatives? Honestly, this election cycle is so weird for me because my mom is so deep in Q. I genuinely think she might just die if Trump loses. But like, we as a country need this. That's insane.
You think he'd fit the bill?
I think he could be a great vice president, yes.
Yeah, Bernie likes him. That's real bad.
Urinals and women's restrooms for women who have penises and they just want to stand and pee.
I think people are just making too big of a deal about it. I don't really care.
Naughty words. Okay, so we should or shouldn't?
I mean, I don't really care.
Okay, what about tampons and pads in men's restroom for men who have periods?
If you're really getting that worked up about it, why does it matter? Like, I don't care. It's just sitting there. I'm not going to take it.
Okay, so we should provide men with tampons.
I mean, if a dude wants a tampon for some reason, he can have a tampon. That's not my business.
What would he use it for?
I don't know. That's his problem.
What would he use a pad for?
His problem.
Do you think they should seek medical advice if they're having bleeding?
I mean, if they want to, I don't really.
Dude, this was one of my fucking #1 locks in perpetuity. The hyper focus on like what people are doing in the bathrooms being like the actual weirdo position and not the fact that like trans women get to use the women's restroom. Like, you are legitimately a fucking weirdo for bringing a camera into a bathroom, constantly thinking about where people are shitting and pissing. You are weird, okay? I've been saying this for so many fucking years, and I am legitimately glad that there are at least some goddamn Democrats out there who also fucking say the same shit. And now it's becoming a part of like national discourse. And it is such a successful narrative. Okay? It is such a successful narrative that like the Republicans have nothing to counter it with. Okay? They have nothing to counter it with. They're like, I'm not weird. Shut the fuck up. You're weird. You're also a childless cat lady and not black. And you wanted people to have tampons in the restrooms. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I'm going to put a camera in every bathroom to show you how not weird I am. It's like, dude, it's great. It's great. It's awesome. Keep doing it.
Really care. Why should I care?
I don't know. I care about people. If they're bleeding out of their penis, I would want to.
I care about people's personal rights. They can do whatever they want. It's none of my business.
Yeah. Transphobes get so worked up about period product in men's bathrooms, but you can so easily point out that it could just be so they can give products to the people they know who need it. Yeah, exactly. Fox News has nothing on Walz.
That still matters. So let's look back at his record. Walz's first executive order as governor was to create a diversity, equity, and inclusion council. He also supported.
No, I can't believe he did that. Oh my God. I hate him.
Open borders.
You know, he talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory.
And he pushed socialism.
He's saying that Walz don't do anything to fucking curb immigration. He's right.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
Oh, wait, and there's more.
They're posting his dubs. They're clip chimping him to shit. You can hear the audio cutting mid-word. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is weak shit. You got nothing. You got no smoke.
Signed an executive order protecting gender-affirming care or surgeries for minors in his state. And in 2020, he was the governor of Minnesota during the George Floyd.
Oh, they just skipped through that. Okay, got it. All right, great.
Riots that burned part of Minneapolis to the ground.
Yeah, it's crazy that they were like, hey, medical decisions should be kept between a doctor and the patient. Okay? Wow. Hey, guys, I'm so angry. Aren't you angry? No, medical decisions should famously not be kept between a patient and a medical professional who literally has all of the data and knowledge. It should be between a doctor, a patient, and me, random guy on Twitter. I should be making these decisions. I should be making these decisions. Not a doctor and a patient. Why am I not in the center of these fucking conversations? It's not between a doctor and a patient. It's me, random guy living in Staten Island. I get to make these decisions. Small government, by the way. I love small government, except for when I make the decisions about medicine.
It was so bad that Walz himself called out his own response.
Please stop shitting on Staten Island. Excuse me. I will never stop shitting on Staten Island, okay? What the fuck? That is one place I will never stop shitting on. You're out of your dang mind, okay? Holy shit. Hell no, dude.
I got a call from a friend and a dedicated public servant. Senator Torres Ray called in her district, and it was on fire. And there weren't any police there. There weren't any firefighters. There was no social control, and her constituents were locked in their house wondering what they were going to do. That is an abject failure that cannot happen. If the issue is that the state should have moved faster, yeah, that is on me.
I like that he's like openly taking ownership of his failures as what like a good, like taking accountability. Like that's insane. They're making fun of him for taking accountability. That is insanity, dude. Like that doesn't make him look bad, dumbass. Folks, accountability has got, it's woke. This man is taking accountability. What a woke fucking loser.
Back with us. Reja, it is official. Kamala Harris has posted on X and Instagram.
That's right, Lindsley. She just posted on social media to sort of lay out her case for choosing Governor Tim Walz, to really introduce the American public to this governor who, unlike many of the other top contenders who were vying for this spot, doesn't really have a household name. And she writes about, one of the things that stood out to her was his conviction on fighting for the middle class. You can see here, she points out that he was, is a governor, a coach, a teacher, a veteran, and he has delivered for working families before. As we've been talking about, he served Congress.
By the way, another massive lock that I had was if Shapiro was picked, everyone in the Democratic Party, in the elite side of the Democratic Party, would regularly fucking left bait and regularly shit on the progressive wing of the party that will now actively push for the Democratic ticket, but they would have actively fought against the Democratic ticket, and the Democratic Party's establishment leaders would constantly have this narrative at top of mind. They would constantly be talking about how, like, oh, the left is anti-Semitic, that's why they don't like Josh Shapiro. I knew that that was going to happen if Josh Shapiro was the VP. And I said this yesterday when I was talking to Michael from Pennsylvania. Okay? And the Dersh now, because they didn't go with Josh Shapiro, it's now up to the Republicans to keep crying about how the Democrats are actually anti-Semitic. That's why they didn't go with Josh Shapiro. Okay? Great. Wonderful. Let him fucking cry like this. Let him chirp like this. Everybody knows this is bullshit. Okay? That's it. If the pick were Shapiro, these ghouls would have had the race of the keyboard to type George Soros. No, it's great. Did Harris reject Shapiro just because progressives don't like that he was Jewish? You know? Oh. This is another phenomenal take. Dude, Republicans objectively not being normal.
All right, ready.
Walz is dangerous. Reminder, he just changed the Minnesota state flag to replica Muslim Somali flag. Tim Walz is effing dangerous as it gets.
Wait a minute.
He got so horny, he couldn't even write Somali. Muslim soulmate, he wrote.
There, that's better. All right.
It's great. America hating traitor. I mean, the new flag is ass though. Yeah, but I don't give a shit, dude. How do you not see that this is just like, this is what a psychotic person thinks? Okay? He's a secret Somali? Like that's what the argument is? That's the best argument you got against this motherfucker?
For 6 terms, and now he's in his second term as governor. And then if you read all the way, this is quite a lengthy statement from her. She said, "What impressed me most about Tim is his deep commitment to his family."
It's actually fucking insane. Both my dad and my sister have been paired and they didn't pick him because he's Jewish, lying to me. Meanwhile, I haven't seen anyone on the left discussing his religion whatsoever except the people from the right trying to make it seem like it's about his religion. Yeah, but Megaphonics, isn't your dad a hog anyway? Like, that's the other thing I don't understand. That stuff is like, that stuff is just for, the base. I thought your dad was a hog. Is he not a hog? Yes, but my sister is ostensibly a liberal Zionist. It's crazy the amount of people on Twitter trying to flame Walz for retiring the year his unit deployed. Like the dude didn't do 24 years, shaking my head. Dude, this, by the way, is... You remember what I talked about with respect to transphobia? About how, like, transphobic people genuinely exhibit patterns of, like, mental illness. And the more transphobic they become, the more they start suspecting, like, random cis women of being trans. And we saw that happening with the Iman Khalif situation. Okay? You remember that? This is the other version of that, where looking at a fucking white dude and being like, he's actually secret Somali. Like, that's the other side of the mental illness, okay? They're just being this way on every issue now. Okay? They're like, oh yeah, he's a secret Somali invested in Sharia law and wants to turn America into a into a Sharia nation. You only have this kind of attitude if you have just completely lost your dang mind.
Gwen, Gus, and Hope, referring to his children. And she said, "Doug and I look forward to working with him to build an administration that reflects our shared values." So in addition to all the experience you see on your screen right now, it really came down to who Tim Walz is as a person. And that really mattered to Vice President Harris as she made this decision that came down to the wire. In fact, she didn't make it until this morning. And I just spoke with somebody who was very familiar with the entire process, who said that on the phone call to Tim Walz, the vice president said that we are underdogs and let's get to work. So she's not, allowing all the momentum, the excitement that we have seen in recent weeks to cloud all the work that is ahead. And they really wanted to try to capitalize on this moment, get even more excitement, because the team is well aware that, that enthusiasm could dwindle. And so they want to gen up as much support, as much excitement as possible while they can, with, of course, today's big announcement. And I should point out, Lindsay, that you mentioned, but in case our viewers didn't hear this yet, what's really interesting is it was so close that her team printed out multiple versions of campaign signs for tonight's rally in Philadelphia. You can imagine that Harris Shapiro was...
What do you think about his closest to Israel? He is not closer to Israel than any other fucking regular Democrat, which means he is close to Israel. But so is every other Democrat, okay? Like, we talked about this with Bashir too. Like, that's it. Every fucking Democrat is close to Israel. I don't know if you're like new to this story or maybe you just recently started paying attention. There are the only Democrats that are not close to Israel. The only congresspersons that are not close to Israel are like a select few. Okay?
Is among those, and it will be in Governor Shapiro's home state, where we see now Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz really make their case for the first time in public to the American people.
Yeah, let's hope they pass out the right signs, right, Ouija, at the event. I want to ask you something about something you just mentioned, the underdog framing. I mean, that in and of itself is strategy, right? Because who doesn't like rooting for an underdog?
Right, and who doesn't want to...
Do you think Walz is progressive? My liberal Minneapolis mom described him as that, which I thought was odd. Yes, he is. No, Tim Walz is definitely Thomas Massey, but you never give him kudos. Yeah, Thomas Massey's the one Republican. You're right. Honestly, I agree with you, but let's be honest. You weren't saying this when Biden was the nominee. If you think Joseph Robinette Biden's rabid Zionism is not above and beyond in comparison to the average congressperson, especially the average Democrat, I don't know what to tell you. Biden is unique in his rabid Zionism. Like the rest of the Democratic Party, from Nancy Pelosi to even fucking Chuck Schumer, who also simultaneously invited Benjamin Netanyahu to come speak and deliver a speech in front of Congress, literally has moved on to the liberal Zionist position. Biden is running to the right of Netanyahu, okay? The fuck are we talking about? Maybe not to the right of Netanyahu, but like firmly planted on such a pro-Israel stance that he is basically a fucking Likudnik. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Yeah, Biden called dead Palestinian civilians Hamas numbers. Biden routinely lied and still continues to lie about like Palestinians going in and you know, Hamas going in on October 7th and like lighting fucking babies on fire. It's just objectively not true. That never happened. Okay. He still lies about that. He lied about seeing beheaded babies. He said that the Palestinian Health Ministry is run by Hamas and therefore he disputes the numbers. He gave a bear hug to Benjamin Netanyahu early October and never strayed away from that fucking course in terms of like giving unconditional support to Israel. He is part of the reason. If progressives can't be happy about this, we're fucking cooked. No, I think many people are happy about this. A lot more people are happy about this. He said that Palestinians have an ancient gene that makes them anti-Semitic, okay? During his Holocaust remembrance speech. Biden is above and beyond. He outflanks some Republicans, not just Thomas Massey. Like, he outflanks a big chunk of Congress on how firmly committed he is to defending Israel unconditionally. So no, it is definitely different.
Give more money to an underdog that is actually doing quite well. And in our latest CBS News poll, Harris is actually up by 1 point nationally and tied in the critical battleground states. And that 1 point is really important because Biden never enjoyed that lead. In fact, when he left the race, he was 5 points behind. But 1 point is still, you know, not significant enough for them to lean back and say, okay, we can relax now. And that is why it's going to be a slog ahead, including this week when Walz and Harris go to several battleground states to try to maintain that kind of support, because it's not just about, you know, getting people out in November. Between now and then, it's about making sure their operation continues and they have the infrastructure through money.
Weijia Jiang, thank you.
A working class politician.
Anyway, Tim Walz, here, this is what he said about the uncommitted vote in his own state, by the way. This is something to remember. It is pretty significant.
Votes right now, 20% of the vote going to uncommitted, and we've seen that already in this primary in Michigan. What message are voters in your state trying to send to President Biden, and what do you want to see President Biden do in response?
Yeah, look, they're engaged. We're really proud in Minnesota. Civic responsibility. We have some of the highest voter turnouts. These are voters that are deeply concerned, as we all are. The situation in Gaza is intolerable. And I think trying to find a solution, a lasting two-state solution, certainly the president's move towards humanitarian aid and asking us to get to a ceasefire, that's what they're asking to be heard. And that's what they should be doing. We've gone through this before, and we know that now we make sure we've got 8 months. We start bringing these folks back in.
That's why I said he's interesting, because, like, again, big Somali population in his state. He has routinely gone out to bat to defend them, defended Ilhan Omar, and also on top of that has, like, delivered a speech to CARE, which is unheard of, okay? Like, outside of, like, specific Michigan congresspersons and like Rashida Tlaib and shit like that, you don't ever get that kind of, you don't even get that kind of lip service from the Democratic Party. Okay? That's why they're gonna, that's probably why they're gonna run with the, that's why they're running with the he's a secret Muslim narrative. For those of you who don't know, CAIR is the Council on American Islamic Relations, okay? Dude had a dynamite interview on Ezra Klein. Yeah, I know. I was very Waltz pilled after that interview. He was great. He was great on that. He does a really good job. He does a really good job of not just like saying that Republicans are weird, but also then basically saying like, look, I push for progressive policies because I want to help people. I want to help people that, got me elected. And I want to make sure, like, Republicans, whether they admit it or not, doesn't matter. They also benefit from paid family leave. Republicans also benefit from feeding children at schools, right? Like school lunch programs, like free breakfast and lunch programs. That's popular. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or not, okay? Republicans don't want that to happen, so they just hyper-focus on weird stuff, okay? And he's right. He's right. He's 100% correct on this. Yeah. This is a great take. Exactly. Thank you for doing the obvious correct thing instead of letting a bunch of consultant freaks trick you into math. But Pennsylvania is a critical state. Yeah, but what if you just try to win all the other ones by choosing the best possible campaigner? Yes. It's 100% true. Also, I just found out that Jim Acosta follows me, which is weird. Like, this is the moment that I found out that Jim fucking Acosta follows me. What the fuck? What do I DM him? A topless pig? Should I send him a pic of me shirtless? Mario Goetze. Okay.
We listen to what they're saying. That's a healthy thing that's happening here. But I would note that that the former president lost twice as many votes here in Minnesota to Nikki Haley. And I've seen some of these exit polls out of North Carolina and others. 80% of folks said they're not voting for him who voted for Nikki Haley. We'll get these folks back. I think it's take them seriously. Their message is clear that they think this is an intolerable situation and that we can do more. And I think the president's hearing that.
About 40,000.
Yeah, but Hillary won the popular vote, but still lost because the electoral colleges has. I think this was the best choice, but concerns, bro. I don't think you understand. Okay, I don't think you understand something very important, which is that Democrats can win Pennsylvania without Josh Shapiro. Okay, he is objectively a solid, if not one of the best choices for vice president. Like, what is this? 5 minutes and 26 seconds of Tim Walz being awesome.
Buddy, Tim here. 11 days till the election, but
I love this video.
Of the day out on the road. I got to show you this. This right here is the headlight harness on a 2014 Ford Edge. Ford, this is unacceptable. It burned out hot on the connector. So for $7.99 at Napa Auto Parts here in the city, you can replace this. Just clip off the back.
Not only can we, he was actually a very weak option that anyone who looks into realized he was brand new and had tons of skeletons in the PA political scene. Exactly, dude. Exactly. Josh Shapiro is weak. He was a weak fucking candidate, okay?
Back, use some shrink wrap connectors on there, tape it back together and put it back in. It's about a 5-minute fix and you're back on the road safe and sound. So pro tip of the day, second one is get out and vote for One Minnesota. Get out and let's take this state in a direction we know it needs to go. Go vote.
This is when this is the beautiful moment that everyone will be playing in campaign ads if the Democratic Party is even remotely smart about their strategy. Okay? This is when he signed into law free breakfast and lunch programs for all school children in his state. Okay? This was an emotional moment. This is a phenomenal thing that he did. He's literally a fucking school teacher. Like, what are we talking about, dude?
Hey, Minnesota, Governor Walz here.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come the fuck on, man. That's crazy. That's beautiful. That's wholesome.
Here out at the state fair with my daughter.
Hope.
Every year we as a family.
She's named Hope because she's an IVF baby, by the way.
We do something.
Another fucking solid part of the story is like the IVF part, which is what some Republicans want to fucking ban. Oh my God.
Something new. I get to pick something, a classic, the old mill ride, to do that. And then Hope gets to pick something new.
I think we're going to go do the slingshot.
Which I don't know what it is, and they're keeping it from me. But then we're going to go get some food, corn dog.
I'm vegetarian.
Turkey then. And
turkey's meat.
Not in Minnesota, turkey special. And we will go do some of those things and report back.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Dude, it's like, oh God, I'm losing my mind. Dude, I'm losing my fucking mind. It's like a gift. Like, you will not see JD Vance in a situation like this. You will never see Trump in a situation like this. You won't even see Kamala in a situation like this for the most part. Okay? This is what I've been saying when I say the Democratic lineup for talent is fucking deep. The fact that they were stuck with Joe Biden was unimaginable to me, because there are governors like him out there. Beyond him, there's Andy Bashar is pretty fucking solid too. Like, come on, dude. Come on. There were motherfuckers talking about Pete Buttigieg. There were motherfuckers talking about Pete Buttigieg, bro. There were people talking about Pete Buttigieg as a good candidate for the VP. Y'all don't even know about the Gretsch momentum yet, okay? You don't even... J.B. Pritzker, another big boy, another fucking solid pick. Oh my God.
Yes! Oh my God. Keep going.
Yes!
That was good. Good job, Dad.
Oh, thanks, Hope. All right, Minnesota, it's worth it. Woo. Wow, that is wild.
No, that was pretty cool, actually.
That is wild.
No, that would be good.
It was okay. It was so worth it.
Yeah, JD Vance's fucking interaction with his children, where he told his son to shut the hell up about Pokemon for 30 seconds when he was on the phone with Donald Trump. That is not even Oppo. That's information that he voluntarily revealed to the world. Put his whole fucking pussy out there. He said it with his entire chest. He was like, that's the kind of fucking shitty ass dad I am. Give me a goddamn break, dude.
It was good.
Thanks for talking me into it.
You're welcome.
Why is it so hard to understand? When somebody else gets them right, it's not like a damn pie. Oh, somebody got a bigger piece of pie. I don't get it. Rights aren't that way. There's enough for everybody. There's enough for everybody to be included. Same thing with jobs. Same thing with housing. Same thing with healthcare.
Dude, imagine a Whitmer-Walz ticket. Yeah, Whitmer-Walz ticket would be Reagan numbers for the Dems.
So, you saw it. We are not going to allow them to make the case. Yes, they're a threat, but we're not going to stay in their frame. We're not going to stay where they're at. We're not going to play their game. We called them out for the weird nonsense that they believe, and we presented a different argument to the American public.
Dude, the thing was, I heard that story from you and thought it was hilarious the way you said it. Then I heard the actual clip and it was so cringe. Yes, JD Vance reads like a fucking alien. Okay? He's not even as good as Pete Buttigieg is in terms of being like a TED Talk style liberal, in terms of like communicating. He has all of the worst aesthetic. He has all the worst aesthetics of like the elitist, bi-coastal, out-of-touch fucking libs.
One where everybody matters. One where we can achieve. One where we solve problems.
The crazy
And
thing
what's
about
so
it
great about
is my son, who's 7, is in the hotel room with me, and he's really into Pokemon cards right now. He's going through.
That's why I said he had his whole pussy out too. Look at this. Look at this. Fucking harlot, dude. Pussy out for the whole world to see. You goddamn harlot. Fuck you doing here? Look at it. Look at his pussy directly with your eyes, okay?
Pokemon phase. Are you guys into Pokemon?
I was back in the day.
Okay,
yeah, that's
okay.
a big phase right now, I think, in general.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, he's really into it. So he's trying to talk to me about Pikachu. And I'm
Yeah,
on the
I
phone
saw
with Donald
AOC
Trump,
tweet.
and I'm like, son, shut the hell up for
yeah, son.
About Pikachu. And I'm on the phone with Donald Trump, and I'm like, son, shut the hell up for 30 seconds about Pikachu. The crazy
AOC said, why are you sitting like that? Oh, that's awesome. The campaign ads write themselves, dude. The campaign ads write them fucking selves. Holy moly, dude.
Is we know here in Minnesota that message works. We are the majority. That's why they shrink the vote. That's why they make it harder to vote. That's why they try and bring fear. And that's why they try and get you to the point where you're pessimistic. And what difference does it make? On the theme of talking about what's real out there a little bit, we can't talk about public safety without talking about guns. So let's have that conversation. I'll go ahead and put my credibility up against anyone on this issue. I'm a veteran and I'm a hunter. And for many...
Finally, we're not debating them on the issues and just saying they're weird and feeding children. It's literally so easy. No, that is actually the issues, though. That's the beauty of it all. You're saying they're weird for not focusing on issues because on the issues, they're awful. And you recenter the conversation back to what you want to offer people. That's it. You have to earn people's votes. You have to earn people's votes. This is why governors are actually pretty solid in terms of like running for the presidency, because like governors are objectively popular. Governors oftentimes will be so popular that they outcompete the ticket in their states. Why are they so popular? Because they have an immediate impact on the fucking lives of the people that are voting for them. That's why you have red governors in blue states and blue governors in red states. Okay? A governor is basically like being the president of your fucking state. And then you have pieces of shit like gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom, but I don't want to talk about that. A hunter as a vegan, I'm out. Okay. Does it make it better that Walz was a teacher and not a lifetime politician? Absolutely, dude. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Years, I was one of the best shots in Congress, and I got the dang trophies to prove it. I know guns as well as anyone, but I'm sick and tired of talking about that because I'm not just a veteran, not just a hunter, not just a gun owner. I'm a father, and for many years I was a teacher. And we all know damn well weapons of war have no place in our schools, in our churches, in our banks, or anyone wants to live in peace.
Of all her potential running mates, you might have the most progressive record as governor. I know you were more of a moderate when you were in the House, but you've legalized recreational marijuana, you passed universal background checks on guns, you expanded LGBTQ protections, you implemented tuition-free college for low-income Minnesotans. There's free breakfast and lunch for school kids. Do you think your record is an asset to the ticket, or would it risk fueling Trump's attacks as you being a big government liberal?
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own health care decisions. And we're a top 5 business state, and we also rank in the top 3 of happiness. Look, they're going to label whatever they're going to label.
The funniest thing is climate change will make Minnesota one of the most livable places in the United States of America. So like, there's also that aspect of it as well. Straight up. Wasn't it? It was literally Minnesota, right? Like it was like Minnesota, Michigan, like all of those states will literally become the most valuable states in the nation as a consequence of climate change. Yeah, Maine, Vermont. My mom was a public school teacher and an elector and campaigned for him when he ran for state office. She talks about how even though he had a busy ass schedule, he came to speak in her government classes. Yeah. Minnesotans are going to become insufferable. I mean, they deserve it. They deserve this momentum.
Well, he's going to roll it out, mispronounce names, to try and make the case. The fact of the matter is, where you see the policies that Vice President Harris was a part of making, Democratic governors across the country executed those policies, and quality of life is higher, the economies are better, all of those things. Educational attainment is better. So, yeah, my kids are going to eat here, and you're going to have a chance to go to college, and you're going to have an opportunity to live where we're working on reducing carbon emissions. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have personal incomes that are higher, and you're going to have health insurance. So if that's where they want to label me, I'm more than happy to take the label.
Have you?
So that's just a taste of what we were going to.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I'm on board. Like. This is great.
How are you going to build a water treatment plant in a town of 400 if you don't have a collective effort at it? So I have to tell you, they scream socialism. We just build roads, and we build schools, and we build prosperity into this. Their whole plan is to go backwards, to give tax cuts to the wealthy. And look, it was so surprising. These super successful Donald Trump, who inherited $400 million and then proceeded to fail at everything. Middle America, you earn it, but you know what? You're not on your own. Neighbors help neighbors. And I will, this one bothers me. I heard you talking about punching back at the bullies. They see people less fortunate as scapegoats and punchlines for their jokes. We see them as neighbors. And I said it with my mom. My dad dies when my little brother's young. We're teenagers. We get Social Security survivor benefits. I'm all for pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. We didn't have any boots. Social Security was the boots, and we pulled ourselves up, and we paid that back. And I think J.D. Vance gets none of that. It's the aw shucks, I'm from here or whatever. So my hillbilly cousins did not go to Yale, but I'll tell you what they did. They contributed to our community, and they're proud of it.
Look out for your neighbors.
Bro, he fucking lasers JD so much. He literally, oh my God. Like, even when he was talking to Ezra Klein, who is, again, a liberal and a bit of an elitist and one of those, like, bi-coastal Andes, like, Ezra kept trying to talk about, like, how JD Vance, it's actually really interesting that he became, like, the hillbilly that has this anger and resentment. And all of that is fucking fake. And you could see in that conversation where he's talking to Ezra Klein, where he's like, no, dog, that's just, like, those are my fucking neighbors. Like, that's not. Like, he even managed that conversation pretty well as well, I think. Will the standard voter care? I think so. It's entirely dependent on the hundreds of millions of fucking dollars that they are fundraising currently and how they put that to work. If the way you feel about this guy right now, from just my like regular coverage, from his media slots, like from his regular old, appointments that he's doing in the media before he was picked as the VP. Like, think about the way you feel, and then try to think about like what a normal person, how a normal person would feel when they hear this shit. Do you think that like a normal person reads this as inauthentic? Or do you think a normal person would read this as like a pretty authentic, run-of-the-mill, salt-of-the-earth kind of fucking guy who is genuinely being like, I don't know about this socialism shit. I care about building roads, man. What the fuck are we talking about? I care about being neighborly. That's it. It's great.
You're on a debate stage with, say, J.D. Vance and...
Okay, I feel like I'm strike breaking here by showing this take.
And he accuses you of being a big government liberal who's attacking our families, making life worse for our families, doesn't share our values, doesn't care about families like yours. What do you say to him?
Yeah, first of all, it was up to him. I wouldn't have a family because of IVF and the things that we need to do reproductive. My kids were born through that that way. And also I make sure that I'm the guys and our folks are investing in prenatal care. We're the ones that are there for universal pre-K. We're the ones that are providing school meals at this. I'm not going to back down one bit on this whole family values thing and it's us. That construct that he's putting out there is absolutely untrue. We're making it more affordable to have children by having paid family and medical leave so that you can go home when your kids are sick and take care of them. Or if you're a dad, I don't have to go right back to work 5 days later after my wife had a C-section because our insurance wouldn't pay for it. We're boosting those things up. There's nothing pro-family other than having women be incubators for their vision of this. Once again, it's weird. I don't want J.D. Vance talking about my family. I certainly don't want him talking about my daughter or my wife. It's none of his damn business. But I said the one thing is we need to talk about how we've invested in families. We have the most generous child tax credit, and it's what Vice President Harris is proposing for the country. People are poor because they don't have money. And when kids don't have the money on the front end, all of the things that a chain reaction of can't learn, can't go on. So I'll challenge him on that. Where is J.D. Vance's pro-family? He's forcing people to have...
He's so good. What the fuck? I didn't know Minnesota went this hard. Bro, watch my old video that I did in 2023, specifically about the memes at the time were Democrats with a super majority in a blue state become Clintonites and like annoying establishment Democrats. Democrats in the Midwest with like the slimmest one seat majority are like Leninist vanguardists in the way that they fucking legislate. They went so nutty with it. Yeah, here, this is the tweet. New York Dems with a super majority versus Midwest Dems with a 1 vote margin.